Hello and welcome to the show that's somehow still on air, even though we've angered more world leaders than a pigeon with a vendetta against freshly washed cars. This week, we're diving headfirst into the chaotic whirlwind of Trump's foreign policy. Now, you might be thinking, John, foreign policy? That's denser than a fruitcake made of neutron stars, and you'd be right, but stick with us, because what you're about to hear is more alarming than finding out your country's diplomatic strategy is being dictated by a magic 8-ball. Buckle up, because it's about to get messy.
Let's be honest, trying to follow Trump's foreign policy was like trying to herd caffeinated squirrels on roller skates. 1 minute he's praising a dictator, the next he's threatening to rain down fire and fury like he's auditioning for the role of a vengeful Norse god. It's enough to give the entire international community diplomatic whiplash. And the worst part, no one, and I mean no one, seemed to have any idea what the hell he was going to do next. Allies were left bewildered, enemies were emboldened, and the rest of the world just watched in a mixture of horror and morbid fascination. It was like witnessing a diplomatic train wreck in slow motion, only this train had the nuclear codes. Trump, a self-proclaimed master negotiator, a man who could close a deal with a starving wolf guarding a gingerbread house, fancied himself a peacemaker. He boasted about his ability to bring peace to the Middle East, a region that's seen more conflict than a season finale of Real Housewives. But let's be clear, this was the diplomatic equivalent of a dog claiming credit for a perfectly parked car. His idea of peace often involved strong-arming allies, alienating partners, and cozying up to some rather unsavory characters. It was the kind of peace that left you feeling like you needed a long shower and a stiff drink, preferably at the same time. Now, we've all heard about Trump's business acumen, or lack thereof, depending on who you ask. But his approach to international relations was like watching a bull in a china shop, only the bull was wearing a poorly tailored suit and tweeting insults about the shop's feng shui. He promised to expand American influence, to make America great again by, you guessed it, making other countries pay for it. He wanted Greenland, he eyed Venezuela, and he generally treated the world like a giant game of Monopoly, where the only winning move was to bankrupt everyone else. Chapter 4. Waaaar! What is it good for? You know what pairs well with aggressive foreign policy? That's right, a massive military budget. Under Trump, the US military budget ballooned faster than a pufferfish in a staring contest. It was like watching someone trying to put out a fire with gasoline, except the gasoline was taxpayer money and the fire was, well, everywhere. The message was clear: diplomacy is for suckers, might makes right, and if you want peace, you better be prepared to pay for it, preferably in weapons contracts. Chapter 5. $1 trillion of peace. Remember that massive military budget we just talked about? Well, let's put a number on it, shall we? A cool $1 trillion. That's right, 12 zeros. Enough money to buy every person on Earth a pony, and still have enough left over for a lifetime supply of hay. Or, you could use it to fund healthcare, education, or any number of other things that don't involve blowing stuff up. But hey, who needs a functioning society when you can have shiny new bombs, right? Chapter 6. Ukraine peace talks. More like peace flops. Ah, Ukraine, the breadbasket of Europe, a country known for its beautiful landscapes, its rich history, and, more recently, being caught in the middle of a geopolitical tug-of-war. And who better to mediate this delicate situation than the guy who once said he could solve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict in, and I quote, 2 seconds? Spoiler alert, it didn't go well. Peace talks sputtered and stalled, tensions escalated, and the whole thing was about as effective as a screen door on a submarine. Remember those bombs we were talking about? Well, Trump wasn't content just stockpiling them, he wanted to use them too. In Yemen, a country already ravaged by a humanitarian crisis of epic proportions, the US, under Trump's watch, ramped up military support for the Saudi-led coalition. It was like trying to put out a fire with napalm, only the fire was already a humanitarian catastrophe, and the napalm was, well, more bombs. And then there was Iran, a country that Trump seemed to have a personal vendetta against. He pulled out of the Iran nuclear deal, slapped on sanctions like they were going out of style, and generally did everything short of challenging the Ayatollah to a breakdancing contest. Chapter 8, Israel. Can you say unwavering support? Let's talk about Israel, shall we? A country that Trump seemed to have a soft spot for, even when it came to things like, international law. Settlements, no problem. Annexation, go right ahead. It was the diplomatic equivalent of giving your friend the keys to your car, even though you know they're drunk and have a history of driving into swimming pools. The international community was, to put it mildly, not thrilled. But hey, who needs international goodwill when you have unwavering support, right? Chapter 9. Marco Rubio, Neocon Whisperer. Now, no discussion of Trump's foreign policy would be complete without mentioning the neocons, that group of hawks who never met a war they didn't like. And leading the charge was none other than Marco Rubio, a man whose foreign policy experience could fit on the back of a postage stamp, with room to spare for a doodle of a mushroom cloud. Rubio was the Neocon Whisperer, the man who could convince Trump that invading a country was a good idea, even if that country was, say, Canada. Chapter 10. Pete Hegseth, the Crusader. And then there was Pete Hegseth, a man who looked like he was plucked straight from a recruitment poster for the Imperial Stormtroopers. Hegseth was the embodiment of military adventurism, a man who believed that the solution to every problem, whether it be a diplomatic spat or a traffic jam, was to send in the Marines. He was the guy who would bring a bazooka to a knife fight, and then complained that the knife wasn't putting up a fair fight. Outro, a legacy of isolation. So there you have it, a whirlwind tour of Trump's foreign policy. A chaotic mix of contradictions, aggression, and a healthy dose of good old-fashioned American exceptionalism. It was a time when allies questioned their friendships, enemies sensed weakness, and the rest of the world watched in a mixture of amusement and alarm. It was a time when America, once seen as a beacon of hope and stability, became a source of uncertainty and instability. And as we pick up the pieces, one question remains: what will be the lasting legacy of Trump's global isolation?